Hey guys, it's from Those Real Thoughts. I'm here with Kristen, and we're here for another segment of Love It or Hate It. And so this time we're going to be talking about Ryan Gosling's Lost River.
Yeah, I guess Ryan Gosling's feature debut. He wrote and directed the movie, and it's a pretty interesting sort of first outing. I think it's taking a lot from other films that you've seen, both visually and in the storytelling.
Refn, Only God Forgives comes to mind first and foremost.
Yeah, it's clear that his sort of partnership with Nicholas Winding Refn definitely informed the look of the film, but also I feel like the storytelling as well, because Only God Forgives, a movie that I really didn't like, is also about like an underworld and somebody trying to navigate this sort of like neon-soaked underworld, and that's basically the aesthetic of this movie too.
I liked Only God Forgives, and maybe that's why I liked Lost River, because it follows the same themes of this like wasteland and this underworld story that is slightly misogynistic.
What's this?
And yet there's like there's such a facade to the whole story in this world that that can be deemed as like a little playful, and so I guess I didn't think of it as
like what do you mean playful in Lost River? Like what's
like,
playful about it?
My mom.
Because everything isn't what it seems. Everything is like make-believe almost.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's this whole aspect, like the carnivalesque aspect of it, which is like that Christina Hendricks character goes to work in this like burlesque cabaret Grand Guignol sort of night show where they pretend they do like nightclub acts, but they pretend to like murder themselves or die, or some sort of like violence is enacted upon them, but it's all fake.
Yeah.
And that struck me as like this movie as a whole, like cool in concept, and it like results in some like oh cool, potentially cool visuals, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because this is supposed to be like post-recession Detroit, and like nobody has a job, but then somehow there's this like giant nightclub that's able to thrive and employ some of these like displaced people, and there are all these people like attending the nightclub, and I'm just like, who are these people and where are they coming from? Because
I just
so
felt
much
like
is desolate.
That was the whole point of the story, that they were so far gone that these people were, you know, jobless and torn, and they enter this like underworld where everything is very strange. It's like so far gone from reality that they're in this like dream states where almost they're like fulfilling their fantasies, which isn't like fulfilled in real life. And kind of, I don't know, I just like the tone of it, especially Johnny Jewel's soundtrack, which is like incredible. Like, I heard the soundtrack first, and then when I watched the movie, I was just really happy just to be experiencing this kind of world that's like drenched in this neon kind of Spring Breakers vibe.
Yeah, same cinematographer, Benoit Debby, who's shot Spring Breakers and also shoots like Gaspard Noé films like Enter the Void.
Yeah.
I love
that. I think that's why
not Enter the Void at all. But yeah, it's just it's obvious that like Ryan Gosling like handpicked these people to sort of set a tone for this film, and it's very I guess it's very ambitious, but quite frankly, like his talent as especially a writer, but also as a director of setting and a director of actors is just like not up to snuff. So there are all of these scenes that, you know, you can sort of like conceptualize working if there was someone else doing it. So
like I appreciated his attempt, especially for his first feature. This is like quite a feature, especially drawing so many inspirations from so many people, and it's evident. But you can still tell like the kind of story and what he's going for a little bit.
Yeah, but to me that's what made it all the more frustrating, is because like he has all of these collaborators who are really talented, and not only Christina Hendricks, but you have a lot of other really great actors in this movie and who are trying their best in their scenes, and the material is just not there. So it's like so many parts of this movie are just like dead on arrival, and there are some scenes that are like trying to build tension, but it hasn't been set up, so they just sort of die. And it's like, it's just kind of unfortunate that there's a lot of good intentions here, but nobody's pulling it off. So it just sort of comes across as like this thing that, you know, could have been good, but no, the people doing it.
I think it definitely is like a hit or miss.
No, it's a miss.
No, I mean, I could definitely tell, like, I can understand people's perspective when they say, like, oh, I didn't really get it. I think because it catered so much to, like, what I like and the story that I want to see, and kind of the chaos and the strangeness and just the experience of being in that world, I really appreciated it.
Okay.
Even though I can completely agree with what you say, because yeah, sometimes feels like he's just grasping. Like,
well, it is. It's like you're saying that like you liked the aspect of him like picking and choosing cinematic references, which he does, and David Lynch, like Mulholland Drive, like the Silencio, that sort of club, or the sort of like performative aspect of like otherness that happens when you're in a nightclub like that, and all that strangeness. But he is basically just saying like, I like this, let's get a picture of this and then make the movie like that. And it's just, it's a hodgepodge, it's a jumble, and it doesn't come together. And it's like, okay, well that's fine, but don't, you know, that movie that does not make a movie. It's just influences.
I think it definitely will be a cult classic in the coming years. I would love to see it at midnight. Just
oh my god, no!
I really would. Like, especially because I saw it like on VOD. I should have seen it on the big screen. It was shot 35 mil, and it's just like, it's just a rare, and it's just so beautiful. I felt like it was so beautiful, and
yeah, it's one of those movies that is really pretty, but it exists better as a series of screenshots than it does as a movie, because
I liked the story.
The filming, but the filmic aspect of it is not satisfying. It's like it's just a bunch of pretty pictures. You know, you set the camera up, this looks nice, there's a nice light in the corner, but you can get the sensation of appreciating it aesthetically without watching the movie.
I mean, of course, I don't think it fully comes together, but there are I think it's like pockets of moments that can be appreciated. I liked the journey, just being in certain moments, especially like seeing some shots that I thought was really smart.
Yeah, I mean, I'll grant you that there are sort of like very like isolated scenes that sort of maintain a nice rhythm for maybe a couple minutes, but then the way that they're strung together like does not make any sense. Like, just one aspect of this film that doesn't make any sense is that I guess Christina Hendricks' character's mother is sort of like living with them, and she's like some sort of like, you know, Mrs. Havisham attic lady or whatever, and it's Barbara Steele from like the Mario Brava horror movies of the 60s, which is like a really, really cool bit of casting, especially like as, you know, a genre homage, and as somebody to be like, oh, I want this person who had this incredible otherworldly presence, but then she doesn't get to do anything, and there's no point to have her character there. It's just another bit of atmosphere that goes nowhere, which makes it all the more frustrating for me to,
I mean,
like,
it is a first
effort in
feature.
it.
Let's give it that. Like,
I mean, it's like, I don't care. You know, there are first features that are better than this, and that have been workshopped to a more rigorous degree than this is, and this just seems like this guy had the means to make the movie, but nobody had the, you know, wherewithal to tell him that the material wasn't strong enough.
I mean, I truly believe that if it was anybody else, people would give him more credit for it, because just because it is Ryan Gosling, I do understand like concerns.
No, because I don't like that criticism either, that people are being like hard on him because he's like a pretty and successful actor, but to me it's like, this is still a poorly conceived, navel-gazing, albeit very pretty picture, regardless of who's directing it. And I think
he's definitely a filmmaker that we need to foster, because I want to see his next work.
I really disagree with that because it's just, this movie is just, like I said, taking bits and pieces from other movies. There's no germ of originality in this movie.
He takes it and makes it a little bit his own. You can kind of see that it's somewhat, he just needs to flesh it out and really make his voice shine.
I just couldn't find the germ of what he was trying to say. I saw bits and pieces.
Yeah.
He's trying to say something about like American downfall and depression and escapism. No, I like them too, but they're not developed. And it's like there's no central thesis in this movie. So if the central thesis was stronger, but the filmmaking was less polished, like it didn't look as good, that would be more interesting to me because then I know that the germ of the idea that the filmmaker has needs to be developed and maybe they just need a bigger budget and some better collaborators. This is like A plus collaborators and budget, but nothing underneath.
Well,
so, I mean,
you live and you learn, and so obviously I loved it, Kristen.
And I did it.
I think that's like all we have to say about that because yeah, I know we could talk about this forever.
No, I'm done.
Be sure to check out Kristen's sites.
Yeah, it's salesonfilm.tumblr.com and @salesonfilm on Twitter.
And we'll be coming out with more videos of Love It or Hate It. So we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.